Hi guys, it's Katie here from Bella Creativa, and I have a new project to share with you today. It's called Rustic Layers, and I'm just doing a little flip through here that you can see. It's 28 pages and they are printable templates, but they are also able to be cut using your Cricut, which I have found is not something that is very common to printable templates. So this 4-page sort of guide comes with the kit so that you can just print it out and set it to the side of you, and you can see exactly which pages you might want to cut out. So to start with, I've cut out the 6 base pages, which are the first 6 pages, and I've printed one of the background papers there that comes with the kit. I think there might be 10 background papers, so you can print on one side of the cardstock with the background paper and then flip it over and print one of the 28 pages on the front side. So in this project today, I'm just going to point out which pages or pieces I've cut out, and I've also included a list in the description box of all the pieces that I've cut out, or all the pages that I've cut out, so that you can follow along if you want to. So I've also cut a couple of spines from the pages there that you can see off to the right hand side, and each of my pieces I've printed on cardstock. I've used 180 GSM cardstock. I would love to use something a little bit heavier than that, but my printer does not want to comply with my request, so 180 GSM is the thickest that I can get through my printer, but you might be more successful. So I'm just going to take one of the base pages, I'm going to apply some glue to that tab on the side there, and I've already folded that tab in, as you can see, and I also put a little bit of distress ink along it just to make it a little bit more rustic. And then I'm just going to stick that tab onto that spine. And this is really the secret of the whole project, is that all the pieces fit together, and you can interchange them any way you want to make any kind of a project that you want. So in this instance, I'm making a folio, but you could just make some pretty envelopes with it, or you could do a trifold folio, you could make a junk journal. There's unlimited options of the things that you can make using these 28-page pieces. So you can see that the tab is visible on the back, but I'm just going to cut out another spine or a piece of fabric and cover that up. Okay, so now I've chosen which one I might want for my backside, and I'm just going to run some glue along that tab and glue that on as well. And then I've got my basic structure all ready to go. The style of this project is sort of like a file folio. You'll see it's got the tabs on it like a file folio. If you don't want those on a piece, you can just cut them off with some scissors. So there's my first structure. I've used there's 3 size spines, but of course you can make them any size that you want if you wanted to use something other than that. So I've used the medium size spine, and now I'm on that first section, and now I'm using the smaller spine on this other section, and I'm just going to do the same again. I'm going to attach some base pages to that skinny spine, and then I'm going to attach the whole thing, that whole section, to the section that I've just previously made before, and then I have a 4-page book. So now I've got my 2 separate pieces here, one attached with the medium spine and one attached with the small spine. I'm going to attach them together with the small spine on the inside, or sitting on top in this instance. And so I'm just going to carefully line them up and make sure that they are sitting sort of centered with each other. And so I'm just checking each side to make sure I'm happy with where that's sitting on the other spine there. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to hold it in place, make sure it's lined up and straight. And I'm just going to use a pencil here and just mark that edge there, so that once I put some glue on that tiny skinny spine, just like I'm doing now, then I can just line it up with that pencil mark that I have already placed there, and I'll know that that's nice and straight, because the art glitter glue sticks quite quickly. It doesn't give you much wiggle room, but it is fabulously strong glue. Okay, so then I'm just going to burnish that down, make sure that it's really well attached. Do the same on the other side. Now I'm going to make some decisions about some other pieces that I might use in my project. So I'm just going through each of the pages and selecting which ones I might use, and I'm pointing to them, so I'm using those pages. I'll put a list, as I said, in the description box so that you don't have to try and remember. Okay, so I've cut one of this envelope flip here, and once again it's printed on that 180 GSM cardstock, and I've printed on both sides. So the reason that I've printed on both sides is for this envelope flip, of course you see both sides when you flip it over, but generally I just print every page with two sides, and that's because sometimes I don't know what I want to do with the piece that I've printed, and if I want it to be a flip, then at least it's already got something on the back of it, so I can use that pocket that's sitting just there off to the left. If I cut the top and bottom tabs off, then now it's a flip, and because I've already printed on the back of it, it's fine. There's no white space. It'll fit in just nicely. So I'm just going to put some glue on this tab here, and this is the inside cover, so I'm putting my little envelope flip there. So I'm going to have a little envelope on the inside cover. Now you can see the tab there. Now if that's a problem for you because it doesn't, it looks odd, then there's a number of things that you can do. You can use the strips of lace that are in the project kit and glue that on top so that it just looks like a strip of lace down the page. You could use a piece of leftover paper that's been ripped, and you could have the ripped torn edge effect along there. Or you could use a paper punch, and you could put like this piece here, which is sort of, I think it's a Martha Stewart punch, and it's a sort of a lace design, and I've just punched one of the scrap pieces, and I could use that as well, but I'll probably come back and do all of that at the end. The other option, of course, is that you could put another pocket or something on top of that tab so that it can't be seen. And I do that in other parts of the book, but that obviously wouldn't work here. So now I'm just using this pocket here, and I'm using it as a pocket. I've glued all of the tabs down to each other to make it easier to place. A little bit of distress along the edge. I love with this project that most of the distressing is already done. All I'm doing is just knocking off that really thin white edge where it's been cut, and that's it. So I'm putting some glue on these tabs, and then I'm just going to glue it down onto my inside cover. You could do this the other way around as well. You could have the flip on the left hand side and the pocket on the right hand side. It's completely up to you. So there's my little envelope pocket on my inside cover. Then I just used some tiny little Velcro dots. I'm loving these Velcro dots. You can't see them, they're really easy to use. I think I might show them later on in the project. Okay, so now I've got these extra couple of base pages that I've cut, and I've decided that I'm going to put them in there. So I'm just trying to decide where they are, and there you can see I've cut two of the same page. But never mind. So I'm going to attach this base page to this base page just using that tab. Now I know that I can cover up that tab with another pocket or one of the pieces of lace or the torn paper edge or anything that I like. So I'm really not worried about those being visible at this stage. So I'm just using up my base pages and attaching them to other base pages. So there's one there, and then here's another one. Now you'll notice with all of the pockets and base pages that there's options for which way the tabs go. So in this instance, the pattern has the tab going towards the left, whereas some of the pages have tabs going to the right, and that's just to give you options. And that's exactly the same with all of the pockets as well. So you have lots of options. Heaps of pockets come in the kit, as well as a slot pocket, an envelope, a file folder, tons and tons of labels, and there's some Rolodex cards and some Polaroids, some slides, little slide cases. There's lots and lots of little ephemera pieces that you can use throughout, and also they're quite neutral, so you can easily apply them to other projects as well. I tried to keep things quite neutral so that they could be used for other projects. Okay, so I've got 6 base pages, and we've done the envelope in the front, and now I'm just showing you that I have cut out the envelope, which is on page 27. That's that one. And I've actually cut out 2 of them, so I've already folded one up, as you can see, and then I'm just going to fold the other one up now. So one of the things that is different about this project from the other ones that I've done is if you've cut this out with your Cricut, you will not be able to use the scoring tool. So I have to manually score this. But I don't mind because I don't have to do any matting, and that is such a time saver. Okay, so I'm just lining up that line that's down there on my scoreboard, and I think I might have already done the other tabs just to save a bit of time. Now, I obviously printed it on both sides again so that there's no blank white space on the inside. And you'll see that it's a funny envelope because it's got tabs where you think there shouldn't be tabs. And those tabs are so you can apply the envelope as a flip to the side of the page if you want to. And if you don't, you just snip them off. So I'm just doing a bit of quick distressing here. Okay, so once I've finished just doing a little bit of distressing around there, I'm just going to apply some glue to those 2 front tabs there, and then fold that front section up and pressing it down. And you can see I have those extra tabs out the side, and those are the ones that I was saying if you don't use them, you can cut them off, but they're great for helping to attach a flippy envelope to a page. Now, once I've decided on which page they're going and where they're going to sit, I'm just going to trim off that other little tab that's sticking out the side there that I don't need, so that I'm going to do that on both of my little envelopes here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of distress ink along there so you never knew that there was a tab there. So now that I have both my little flippy envelopes here ready, I'm just going to pop some glue on each of the tabs and stick them down to the page. And then I have two little envelopes that flip out. You can also use these as pockets. They don't have to just be flips, or you could cut the tabs off both sides and make them just little envelopes and pop them in a pocket somewhere else. So, you know, there's more than one use for these little guys. Right, so I've done my two little flip envelopes, and when I fold them over you can see that I can see the tabs where I've attached them to the next page. So I'm just going to make some decisions here about how I'm going to cover those tabs up. So I'm having a think about this piece of lace that is cut out from the project, but in the end I think I decide on this narrow pocket, so I'm just going to put my project to the side, and I'm going to show you which page it came from that I printed it out. Not sure that I can tell from there, but I have written it down in the description box if you also want to use that pocket, but you can use any pocket. So I'm just going to score along those lines there so that I can fold my tabs in. And I'm really working on this project sort of on the fly, so I know that I wanted to make the project using the full-size base pages there. So once I put my sort of main structure together, then I'm just making decisions as I go about what I want to put on each page, just by looking at that sort of little 4-page guide that I've got there and thinking, oh, what can I use on this page that's different, or how can I use these pockets differently, or you know, I can just make those decisions as I go, and you'll see, I think, during the video that I'm actually still cutting things out using my Cricut as I go. So I'm just using this narrow pocket that you see I have folded all of the tabs in and glued them down. Then I'm just going to use a little bit of distress ink there, just along that edge, just so it doesn't look so white. That's all of the distress ink I need really, and then I'm just going to apply some glue to those tabs and pop it down on my base page, and that covers up those tabs that are exposed from the little envelopes. And so then we've got a nice neat finish there. Just making sure that my little envelopes can flip back over again and everything sits nicely, and there we've got another little pocket there. For my next page, I'm going to make a waterfall, so I'm just going to quickly show you which page the waterfall pieces are on, and there's 2 pieces on the page, and I've just printed numerous copies of that same page, and once again I have also printed on the back side of it using one of the background papers. And now I'm just using a piece of scrap cardstock and making sure that it's the same width as my waterfall pieces. And now I'm just arranging them in the order that I want them. Once I've decided on my order, then I'm just going to take the first piece, fold over that tab, and I'm folding it towards the inside, I guess, putting some glue along there, and then attaching it to that piece of scrap cardstock that I've got, making sure that it's lined up and nice and straight. And then I'm just going to burnish that and make sure that it's well attached before I take my next piece, and do exactly the same thing. And then I'm going to line this one up when I stick it down to the bottom of the piece that I have just previously attached. And I'm also just going to flip over each one and make sure that they're lined up as best as I can, because nothing's ever perfect, with the pieces that come before. And I'm just going to do that for all of those pieces that I've got here. So I'm just attaching my last piece of this waterfall now. So I'm just popping some glue on that last tab, and pressing it down, and you can see that I've got quite a few pieces of my waterfall there, but that my piece of cardstock is too long, so that's no problem. I can just snip that off with some scissors, and then I'm just going to quickly ink around all the edges and make sure that I'm happy with my final waterfall piece here. So just before I attach my waterfall piece to the page, it has occurred to me that I might put a pocket flip in as well. So I'm just showing you which flip pages, or which pages I've printed out for this flip, and I've chosen these two, and once again I'll write down which ones those pages are in the description box below. So I've cut those out. I have already scored the edges and scored the tabs and folded them in, and so now I'm going to fold in the tabs of this piece here, and I just put a little blob of glue on the sides of those two tabs, the top and bottom ones, and then fold that long tab over, and it just makes it easier to place down on the next piece. So I'm happy with that one. Just move those bits out of the way, and then I'm going to apply some glue to the tabs on that we've just folded in, those ones there, and I'm going to sandwich this pocket to the pocket that's on the desk there. So I'm going to line those two up and press them down. So the bottom one has got all of the tabs still on it at this stage. Okay, so you can see that they're all stuck together, and I'm just going to give them a burnish. And then I'm just going to snip off the top and bottom tabs, because it's not going to be a pocket, it's going to be a flip pocket. So I don't need the top and bottom tabs along there, but I am going to keep the long tab because that's how we're going to attach it to the page. So I'm going to trim those off, and then I will just put a little bit of ink on those edges. Okay, so now I have got my flip pocket all ready to put on. So I'm just going to put some glue along that long tab there, and then pop it on my page. Okay, so then I'm just going to burnish that, make sure it's stuck down well to my base page. And then I have got that tab again that's visible on my page. So this time I'm going to use a little bit of this lace to cover it up. So I'm just going to ink that lace and put it down over my tabs. Okay, so I have popped down that piece of lace now, so you can't see the tabs from that flip pocket that we've attached, and now I've decided that I'm going to use one of these pieces of ribbon to hold down my waterfall to tie it up. So I'm just trying to decide which one I might use. I'll probably end up using them all at some stage, but for this bit here I'm going to use this little bit of ribbon, and I'm just going to, actually I think it's sari. No, it's not. It's seam binding, I think. I'm going to attach one section of it to the top of my waterfall on the back, and then I'm just going to place that down on there, get an idea of how long I'm going to need that piece of seam binding to be. And I always cut it way too long, but you know, at least you can cut it off shorter rather than the other way around. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. Now I'm just going to put some glue on the back of that piece of cardstock. I'm going to use a decent amount because it's holding down a lot of waterfall, so I'm going to put quite a bit of glue on here, and then I'm going to attach it to my page where I had already decided where it was going to go. going to flip it over and line it up like that. Once I'm happy with where it is. Make sure that it is well stuck down. Now, I want to have a piece of sari ribbon on the bottom as well, so I can do the tie a bow. And so I'm going to attach a piece of the sari ribbon to one of these little labels that come in the kit. So I've just decided which one of those I'm going to use. And then I'm just going to attach the another piece of the seam binding to the back of that label, and then attach that to the page, so that sort of forms the other side of the bow, so that then I can tie those two pieces together. So I'm just going to ink around the edge of this little label a bit. Not that it really needs much. I think I'm being a bit pedantic actually. Okay. Then a drop of glue on the back, attach my piece of seam binding. I chose the seam binding because it's really very thin and hopefully won't be too bulky once I've tied it in a bow. Okay, so then when I've decided where that's going to go, I'll just put a bit of glue once again on the back of that label and attach it to my page. So I have attached that little label at the bottom to my page with some glue, and now I'm just going to tie these two pieces of ribbon together in a bow, and that's going to hold down that whole waterfall element and look lovely. Now, I just thought I would quickly cut out one of these file folders from the kit that you can see here. I've cut it out on my Cricut, and so I'm just going to pop the mat to the side. So this is what I mean. I'm sort of I'm making decisions as I go here, but I've got this is the file folder. I'm just going to score the line down the middle on my file folder, and then I'm just going to pop that in that flip pocket that we made. So I'll just fold that in half, probably do a little bit of inking around it, and then pop it in that pocket. I can do some other embellishments or things to that file folder later if I want to, or I might just leave it as it is. But I could also put some pockets inside that. I could sew some paper into it. But there you go. Get the idea of a file folder in that flip envelope now, and the waterfall that we've just made underneath. So for this next page that I'm going to do, which is this blank page opposite the one we've just been working on, I'm going to make some doors. So I have cut out these two pockets here, and I'm just pointing to them so you can see which pages I printed out. But once again, I'll put all of that information in the description box. I've also cut out, again, two of those pieces of lace that I'm going to use to cover up the tabs. And now I'm just going to score the long edges on both of these pieces where the tabs are, and I'm going to, as you can see, trim off the top tabs on both of those pockets, and then that will change these pockets into flips. Of course, I have printed on the reverse side of each of these pockets as well, so that they're not plain white, and I've just used the backing paper for that. And once again, everything I've printed onto white 180 GSM cardstock. It doesn't matter if you use letter or A4 cardstock. In the project kit are all the instructions on what size you need to resize everything in Cricut. Once you've done it once, you don't have to do it again. So I'm just scoring those long tabs here, And then I'll just fold those over and ink around the edges of each of those flips. Okay, so now that those pockets have been changed into flips and they're ready to go on the page, I'm just going to apply some glue to that tab on each one and glue it to the edge of the page. So I think I'm going to start with this one right on the edge of the far edge of the page. Make sure that it's lined up nicely. And then I'm going to do the same with this other one. And I'm also going to use the flip that we've just put down as a bit of a guide, as well as the edge of the page near the spine. So I'm just lining that all up and gluing it down, making sure I'm really happy with it. Burnish it down, making sure it doesn't go anywhere and it's well stuck down. I'm going to use these tiny little Velcro dots as an option to keep my doors closed. You could use anything that you like, but I love these little Velcro dots because they're just so easy to use. The last thing I'm going to do on this page is just cover up those tabs that are on the inside there with these two pieces of lace. These are from the kit, and I'm just going to ink around the edges a little bit and then I'll just glue them straight on top of the tabs. Of course, it's completely optional and you don't need to do that if you don't want to. For this next page, I'm going to use a pocket on the left hand side and then that slot pocket on the right hand side. Once again, I'm just showing you what page numbers both these pieces are coming from, and I'll also include that information in the description box below. So it's page 17 and page 26 I have printed out there and cut out. I use my Cricut, but you can also use the PDF files and cut all of these pieces by hand. So I've got one of my tabs showing where I've stuck the page down. So I've just torn a piece of my leftover cardstock, given it a torn edge, and I'm just going to glue that down over the top of my tab. It blends in quite nicely because I've used the background page that is collage vintage papers, so it fits in quite well and covers up that tab. While I'm giving that torn paper strip a second or two to dry, I'm just going to put this large pocket on the left hand page. So I'm just going to fold in the tabs on this pocket and attach the long tab to those two short tabs, and then just put some glue along those tabs and attach it to my left hand page just like that. I've just trimmed the top and bottom of that torn paper strip because it was sticking out over the top and bottom of the page before. And now I'm just going to attach this slot pocket, which all I need to do is just run a thin bead of glue all the way around the edge of my slot pocket and then pop it on my page. And that's that page done. Really easy and quick. So every one of these pages that I'm doing are just ideas for you on how you could use the pieces. You don't have to do these page designs in the same way that I have. You can do anything you like. These are just ideas to inspire you to use the project kit any way that you like. On this next page, I'm just going to use one of the simple corner pockets. The corner pockets are on page 10 of the project kit, but of course I'll include that page in the description box below, so if you're following along you know exactly which page I used to cut out the corner pockets. So on this left hand side I've just attached that corner pocket. I'm going to use these two bottom pockets now to make another pocket flip page, only a smaller one this time. So these are two bottom pockets that are on page 8. So I've printed one of the background papers on the reverse, and I have then cut out page 8, which has these two bottom pockets. I've already scored them, and now I'm just going to fold those two short tabs in on this one and attach the long tab to that just to make it easier. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing as what we did with the previous pocket flip, and that's to attach this pocket to the other pocket, cutting off the short tabs and using the long tab on this second one here just to attach it to the page. Once I've trimmed off those short tabs, then I'm just going to apply some glue to that long tab and then glue it down to my page. You can see that I've already put down one of those lace strips to cover up the tab on that pocket flip that we've just made. And now I'm just using the belly band that's in the kit and putting it on this page. So just a simple belly band on the right hand side. On this next page, I'm just going to use two of the bottom pockets. These are the smaller bottom pockets, and I'm just going to use these on the page as stacked pockets. So once again, I have printed them out. This time I didn't bother printing them on a double-sided page because I knew that I just wanted to use them as plain pockets. So I'm just folding in those tabs, gluing them down, and so they are held together with that long tab, just makes it easier to pop them down on the page. Then I'm just going to apply glue around those tabs and line them up on my page where I want them and glue them down. For the inside back cover of my folio, I have cut out 3 pockets, and once again I'll let you know in the description box which pages I've cut these out from. This first one is one of the skinnier long pockets, which I have just glued down the tabs, and then I'm going to attach it as a pocket to the back page, back inside cover. For this next pocket, I'm going to use it as a flip, so I have printed on the back of it. And to make it into a flip, all I need to do is trim off these short tabs, and I'm just using scissors. And I've already scored the long tabs, so I can just attach this to the opposite side of the back cover there, and it will flip up. Lastly, I'm going to add this small pocket here to the inside of the flip that we've just made. Then the only other couple of things that I do, which I haven't shown on camera, is I've just once again covered up that long tab that you can see holding the flip on with a piece of, I think I used the torn edge of some scraps. And then I also used a Velcro dot to hold that flip in place. So that is the end of this tutorial, which is just one example of how you can use the Rustic Layers kit. I am going to finish up this project myself off camera and put in some more inserts and do a little bit of decorating, and I'll come back with a flip through video, so that I do hope that you will check that one out and see how this project looks when it's all finished. Also, any other videos that I do in this series, I'll pop in the same playlist, and all the details of where you can get the project kit and all of the pieces that I used are in the description box below. And thank you so much for your time watching this long tutorial, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.